Alright, you guys, so we're going to dive into the Angelarium deck. You'll be able to find a link to buying this for yourself. Special link. Check it out. The box is pretty sturdy. The back is pretty cool. Alright. And it has a book that it comes with. The book is actually pretty thick. And before I actually even like dive deep into it, like I just really want to say that this is not a tarot or an oracle deck, okay? Even though it says it's an Oracle of Emanations deck, the book itself tells you that it's a hybrid between oracle and tarot. So the art itself is pretty interesting. These major pieces right here, that symbol is like one of the major angels of the Kabbalah. And these are like lower angels. The art gets pretty interesting and it's very, very pretty. And again, if you're into like Hermeticism and stuff like that in the Kabbalah, like this is definitely a kind of deck that you want to be using. It teaches you a lot about the pathways of your own inner consciousness and how the universe has worked around it. And the art is just so cool. I remember when I saw this on Instagram, I was like, what kind of deck is this? Like, I want it. This has got to be one of the coolest ones. Gabriel. Look at that. Look at the detail. And the vibrations here, like each one of these is an angel, which I also like the whole vibe of like angels don't have to be like these holy looking beings that we've been like programmed to believe in, right? Like they can be these other kinds of beings that are, you know, beyond this dimension that we can't even comprehend. Some of them are scary, but some of them are like very liberating. Like this one, it's very liberating. I absolutely love the art. It's very Mortal Kombat-ish. And I would say like the depth of understanding when it comes to these cards are very, very powerful. And I'm going to get into that in just a second as we're wrapping up looking up at these cards. Okay. So if you don't know anything about the Kabbalah, I mean, if you're looking to get into it, okay, cool. Definitely come into it. But if you're not, this is probably not the tarot deck for you. So I had asked it, you know, tell me something about myself, right? And it had pulled out these cards right there. Okay. And what was really interesting is like I test my decks the same way. Like I always ask them, tell me something about myself that, you know, like is going on in my life or whatever. And a lot of decks tend to pull out the Sun card when I ask about myself, because my card in my tarot decks is the Sun. So this one right here came out, Tiferet Heart Beauty. So I was like, okay, I wonder what this is all about. And something told me, look at the Kabbalah. Okay, just look at the Kabbalah and look at the Tree of Life and look at where like this Tiferet is on the Tree of Life. Tiferet, the sun symbol. So instantly I was like, whoa, oh my god, I didn't know like Tiferet was the sun in the Tree of Life. Like, okay, whoa, the pillars of consciousness, craziness. It's already like very on point, talking to me in its own way. And what's cool is like if you print out like, you know, the tree and like the pathways, like you can read these cards and kind of find what associations are here, what kind of energies. So like this was a major card, so I know that it's talking about self of individuality, right? And then like the next card would be talking about visions, and then silence. And basically this was saying like, hey, you need to spend some time kind of like relaxing, right? And like spending some time thinking. The descriptions in the book itself is pretty great, honestly. They're really short, but they get to the point, and they allow you to think abstractly. So I've talked about other decks before, and sometimes like the thought process that the cards are put in are not always the most beneficial. But this one's, you know, since it's very driven off of like Hermeticism and like the Kabbalah and like the Tree of Life and all these other things, it talks to you in this very extreme wise way, okay? It talks to you in this format that allows you to not only understand yourself, but understand how everything's interconnected, the same way you would be reading it off of like this platform right here, okay? So it's actually pretty cool. Like I would say like this deck is absolutely something you should get. When I instantly knew that it was talking about the sun here, my sun, like my card being the sun, I knew this was legit, you know, like it was a good, well-programmed deck. And then as I started like asking more questions and playing around with it, I really got into this vibration of like, whoa, like it's really, really detailed. Like you're not gonna just read it the same way you would read a regular Oracle deck or a regular tarot deck. Just because it's so in depth. It looks very simple, especially when you're reading the languages or the descriptions here, right? It seems very simple, like each description might not be like too complex, but when you start comparing it and then you start kind of like analyzing like what a tarot deck is saying on the same quadrant, or another Oracle deck is saying on that quadrant, this bridges the gap between a lot of other like decks that you're going to be using on a regular basis. So that was very, very cool. Especially because it also comes in a bunch of different languages. That's another thing that I wanted to say, because it's a 33 card set, but the fact that it comes in a bunch of different languages is also very beneficial for people, you know, who want to really learn how to play around with this. I love this deck. The only thing I don't really love is the back, but I'm just probably really picky. So yeah, like, I mean, it's still got its good vibe. I'm going to be using this one more often. Is there a learning curve to this? Absolutely. So you're not going to, like, every Oracle deck is so different. So like, it's not like you're going to just pick up an Oracle deck and just start working with it the same way you work with Tarot, because Tarot itself is like, you know, it's pretty standard. You know, the Seven of Cups transfers itself in any design. The meanings might change slightly different, slightly between like each deck, just because of the artist's liberty, but it's not like this, right? So these are very powerful because not only are they being drawn, like their energies are being drawn from the Tree of Life and Kabbalic principles, but they're actually angels. So this is in the same field of like angelic magic. If you're into King Solomon, this is where you want to be getting into. You know, if you're studying more about kind of like these, there's a bunch of different paths that people study when it comes to like self-discovery, and if it's in any realm of hermetics, this is where you want to be in, right? This is where you want to study. This is what you want to get to understand. Metatron's cube, the Merkaba, that's all interlaced into this, even though it's interlaced with everything else, but that's going to really be highlighted in this kind of work. I could see myself using this for manifestation and other things like that, but let's just put one quick thing to the test right now, okay? I'm going to ask it a 2-card spread, and we're going to put it on the test right now. I'm going to shuffle it. So I want to know about, we're going to give it a scenario, and it's the same one that I always do. Like, oh my god, like him and I have been together forever, and like he never wants to settle down, he always wants to party. So are we meant to be together? Is he my soulmate? Is he my twin flame? Well, bam, Angel of Song. I don't know what that means, so I haven't studied these. And Angel of Truth. Oh, the Song of the Truth. Where's that T? Wait, I said 2 cards, but I feel like, let's just go 3 because the T might get an Angel of New Life. And I'm feeling like the 4th card, Submission. Is he the one? So if I were to read it just like without looking at what the cards are saying, it's like the truth is that you should walk away, but at the end of the day, like, you're stuck to the patterns of this vibration. So Hod, okay, Hod, the 8th emanation, the force that abides. Hod is what guides us when we surrender ourselves to the flow of fate and let destiny guide our motion. Through her light, we see boundless waves of glory. Waving our hands through the wind, we feel the air pulls us upward. It's only by resigning ourselves to the forces around us that we truly experience the nature of those forces. The golden orb shines a radiant light upon your shoulders, supporting the pillar of severity. Hod does not press back against weight of the tree. Instead, she simply lets it pass through her, flowing like water down the lowest portion of the diagram. Though the 2 opposing characteristics of Hod and Netzah relinquish the resistance and gaining the power to move, together they form the power to carry themselves through the world with grace and intention, found in prayer, nature, and mysteries. So there's kind of like this mysterious vibration. So let's go over here and look at Hod on the tree. So Hod and Netzah. So Hod is the wisdom, and she was asking about Netzah, and that's what the book says right there. It says, they're counter opposites to each other. So it's a liminal threshold. It's the in between. This is like the super ego. This is the ego. So the Mercury has to do with wisdom. Like, should we stay with that person? And it's like, are we gonna have passive action or active action? And remember how I said if I'm just gonna guess, like just reading based off of the energies, like the truth of the matter is that you should leave this person, but you won't leave this person because you don't have the energy to actually move forward and make that happen. Passive action. And then this one says a passive introvert triad. So right here is like, you can see the person's not willing to move past their personal consciousness to move forward. So when you start combining it with the Tree of Life, it actually gets pretty cool, and you start seeing like these different like cosmic combinations. You start really tapping into kind of like these deeper meanings. The cards themselves have a great vibe, so I highly recommend this one to anyone. If you look how pretty they are, like, come on, and look how far out they are. They're so cool. Yeah, definitely get this one. Check out the link in the description below so you can definitely get a snag on that with a special promo, and I'll catch you later.